Hi, I'm Charlotte Gale and I'm just coming to the end of my first year of my PhD here at SITraN in the University of Sheffield. My project is looking at how problems in cell structure can be caused by motor neuron disease and how that can then lead to degeneration in people and cause disease. I'm using fruit flies as a model organism in my research, and while they don't seem similar to humans on the surface, there are actually a lot of similarities from the levels of genes and DNA up to cells and then up to the full organism, which means we can actually draw a lot of parallels and use them to test things that we can't test in humans. My days vary a bit, but one of the main tasks I have is looking after my fruit flies because they're a living organism, then they take quite a lot of maintenance, they need fresh food, things like that. When I'm not doing that and I'm actually doing experiments with them, I do experiments on a few different levels. So I go down from the level of cell culture all the way up to behavioural and movement assays to see whether our flies are being affected by disease. Once I've collected that information, I then need to do data analysis on it, and then I have meetings with my supervisor, people in my lab, and people in other lab groups so that I can share my progress with them and get their thoughts on any issues I might be having or any interesting results I've got. So I've always found science interesting because you can really break down what's happening in the world and why. And then once you understand the rules, you can start bending them and manipulating them to try and get results or see why a certain process might be happening. And I think that's quite a satisfying process, especially when it's then applied to the realm of disease and you know that the problems you're breaking down can actually help people who have diseases or their families, or just help understand why people are struggling. I think my main likes and dislikes about science kind of come from the same problem or good thing about there's always more you can do. So in a way, I dislike the fact that there are always more questions you can ask because there's always more work to do, and it means that you're never finished, and can mean that you put pressure on yourself trying to do as much as you possibly can with all the time you have available. But in another way, I like that because in a way it gives you flexibility on what you work on, because on the day-to-day level you can do whatever experiment best suits your progress at that moment, or if there's something in particular that's interesting you, you can go off and research that. But it also means that you're never going to be done. You can always look at something new.